love music, live sport. Match Point with Adam Todd and Iain Rose on RockSport Radio.
Hello and welcome to Match Point, a brand new show here on RockSport Radio. It's Adam Todd with you alongside Iain Rose until 9pm, and we'll be talking all things tennis for the next hour or so. Coming up, we'll be discussing the big talking points from the opening days of Wimbledon 2018 in both the men's and women's draw. Plus, we'll talk about all the Brits involved and look ahead to the rest of the championships. And we'll be joined by a few special guests along the way, so make sure you stick around. And you'll like to say, joined by Iain this evening. And Iain, Wimbledon, always a highlight of the tennis calendar. And what have you made of the opening 3 days of action?
Absolutely, it's fantastic that the tournament's begun again, and the weather's just so good for the tournament. Exciting start to the tournament with the hot weather also offering a challenge to the players, as it is to us in the studios tonight.
That's true, very, very warm in here.
Britain's Kyle Edmund drifted through the first round, with Australia's Alex Bolt proving no match for the British number one in a straight sets defeat. That was 6-2, 6-3, 7-5. And Kyle Edmonds now faces Bradley Clan of the USA. Loads of focus on Kyle, obviously, with Andy Murray not being present in the tournament. Also, Spain's Rafa Nadal, he also sped into the second round again in a straight sets win against Israeli Dudi Sela with a score of 6-3, 6-3, 6-2. And that was in under 2 hours on the centre court. And you know, having watched the match, actually, it was clear that despite a few minor blip returns and loss of serve in the third set, Rafa ramped up a gear and cruised through the match. Very strong play, though, from both players, with some really impressive tennis.
Yes, fantastic, Iain. It has been a great opening days to the championships at the All England Club. And funnily enough, you mentioned the weather, because actually play was suspended due to rain, so that there was talk this evening there may be the odd chance of the shower, but has actually came. But it's been absolutely roasting down at Wimbledon over the opening days. And why is this tournament the most prestigious tournament in the tennis calendar? We have 3 other Grand Slams, but Wimbledon always seems to be the one that is top of the list for most players and fans.
Well, I was thinking about this actually, and the tournament is just steeped in tradition and history, and it's the oldest Grand Slam going back to the first tournament way back in 1877. You know, all the players love the unique surroundings and atmosphere of the event, and it's on grass, and the prize money is also very lucrative. Do you know, the potential to play on the showpiece centre court, having been graced by such tennis stars, some whom regard centre court as their own front room, and actually just feel so comfortable playing there, you know, if they get that far. Wearing white is also a great tradition, which I strongly support. I also enjoy wearing white, and I remember when I was a teenager starting tennis, it was always whites, you know, and the green flash shoes. Yeah. And centre court is also unique because of the presence of the Royal Box and who may be attending there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Iain, I believe you actually had the honour of playing on one of the courts at the All England Club. Tell us about that wonderful experience.
I was wondering if you're going to ask me that. Absolutely. This is a memory I cherish, along with, I'm sure, every member of our tennis team who made the trip along with me. Back in the year 2000, our tennis club won the Premier Division in Central Scotland. And as a celebration of this success, a team was invited along with other leading clubs from Ireland and Wales to play in a tournament over a weekend at the All England Club. And you know, we played about probably 6 matches each in total, including mixed and gents doubles. And most of the matches that I got the chance to play in were in court 2. You know, we arrived at the players' entrance, as they do. We used the official changing rooms, as they do. And later we got to have strawberries and cream in the balcony, dinner at night, trophies, visit to the shop. There's a great shop there, actually, at Wimbledon. I don't know if you ever had a chance to look around it. There's a great shop. And photos were taken, all the usual tourist stuff. And playing on the grass was actually very special for me, you know, being the All England Club itself. So it was fantastic. A great thanks to both our club, which was Whitecraig's Lawn Tennis and Sport Club, and the All England Club for this memory.
Yeah, fantastic.
I think it was All England that actually won the tournament.
Yeah,
a home
what
win.
Are the chances?
It was a home win.
Yeah, I'm totally not jealous at all with that experience. Incredible though it must have been. And, well, let's have a look back at what we've seen from the opening days. You mentioned a few guys there, Nadal and Edmund. And I suppose one place to start, though, would be with the number 1 seed defending champion Roger Federer going for men's title at number 9. Does he remain the man to beat?
Again, a smooth victory from the 36-year-old defending champion. Didn't take long to be 5-1 up in the first set against Dusan Lajovic of Serbia, with an overall 79-minute three-straight set victory on Monday. Roger Federer, very comfortable in centre court. You know, it's his second home, I suppose. I wouldn't be surprised if the men's title goal wasn't achieved. However, having watched the strength of Nadal play yesterday, we really need to wait and see. Anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And Federer winning against Lukic Latko as well today to book his spot in the third round. How much of a benefit do you feel it is for Roger Federer to skip the entire clay court season, to focus on grass, have those extra few weeks to rest? Do you feel it's a big benefit?
Roger Federer, 37 soon, has managed some amazing feats of his success over the years, producing some of his best tennis of his career recently, and at a time in life when other players have drifted away. I feel there is little sign of backing off, and I reckon that skipping the clay season was a good call. I believe he was tending his own patch here and thinking of himself, taking time out to recharge batteries again, retrain, revitalise and gear up mentally and physically. Good call. I'm sure that it'll be beneficial to his success in the tournament, and he'll probably have a head start with the grass surface, not having to readjust from the clay.
Yep, absolutely. And well, one man that was very much focused on clay was the king of the surface, Rafael Nadal, winning an 11th French Open title, an incredible achievement. He's not had the best of records at Wimbledon though on the grass in recent years. How do you rate his chances?
That's a good question, Adam. When you come straight from a successful clay court tournament, you need to have time to practice, get a feel for the courts. Rafa didn't play at Queen's this year, hence he missed that extra grass court practice. However, I'm sure the rest did him a world of good to allow to regroup again and find time to establish that grass surface confidence. So, yeah, I think we've got to watch out there.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of talk about the heat, as we mentioned earlier on, the good weather, albeit there has been a slight rain delay this evening. But there's talk that this will benefit Nadal, as the grass will become more like a hard court, with the bounce being higher than usual on grass, which would suit Nadal's game.
Yeah, there's the court surfaces, I guess, can be split into two areas, fast courts and slow courts. Grass comes under fast with the ball coming at you, much faster pace, and the ball's low as well, hence your swings need to be shorter. Clay is slower and you need to generate more power yourself, which Rafa is particularly good at with the amount of spin he puts in the ball.
Yes, and it's been 10 years since the thrilling 2008 final between Nadal and Federer. Certainly the best game of tennis I have ever watched. And Ian, what's the chances of history repeating itself and for these two greats to meet in the final again?
You're challenging me here, aren't you? First and second seeds this year, 10 years since the legendary 2008 men's singles final when they played. High chance that they could re-emerge in the final on the second Sunday of the tournament, 15th of July. Prospect of two all-time greats facing each other again is high. Both have a mission to dominate the title, and the last time they played, the heavens opened up with rain. 4 hours and 48 minutes that match lasted at the time. Longest singles final at Wimbledon in history. High chance. Yeah,
and it'd be fantastic to see Nadal and Federer, as you mentioned, 10 years on. And unfortunately, I don't think we'll kind of get the same drama and excitement, because they now do have the roof on centre court, so we won't have those rain delays. But I think the match finished after 9, and Nadal broke Federer in the final game before play was to be suspended before the Monday. But moving on, strong field of players who'll be aiming to stop a repeat of that epic final. One of those, Marin Cilic, she's the third seed, won Queen's in the lead up to Wimbledon, was runner-up last year. Can he go one better, Ian?
Good question. Marin Cilic, third seed, fighter, style and plenty of ammunition. Will he manage to challenge Rafa, Roger? Maybe. You sometimes think that these two greats, Rafa, who's 32 and Roger 36, would wane. However, they don't appear such this year. Cilic with a Grand Slam title, his name, which was the US Open in 2014, and losing to Federer in last year's Wimbledon and this year's Australian Open. However, as you say, he just come from Queen's with a win over Djokovic. I'm sure he is up for the challenge. However, Rafa and Roger are as strong as ever. Don't underestimate him, though. Yeah,
absolutely. And you mentioned Novak Djokovic there, losing to Cilic in Queen's. He's a 12-time Grand Slam champion. He's had a few injuries to contend with over the past year, but do you feel he's starting to return to his best now?
I don't think he's far away from his return to his best tennis, ending his season a year ago with a persistent elbow injury and had to take rest from the game to recover. But Adam, injuries take time, and you need to gain both your physical fitness again and, importantly, your mental focus. You need plenty of solid tennis and wins, to regain that confidence. And Djokovic is a great champion and may pull something out of the hat.
Yes, and Ian, sooner or later the young stars of the game are going to take over from the likes of Nadal and Federer. At the moment it seems like it will be later, because it looks as if Nadal and Federer certainly got plenty of years at the top level to go. But one man being tipped for a great future is Alexander Zverev. He's ranked third in the world and his fourth seed at Wimbledon. However, he's yet to make a big breakthrough at a Grand Slam, you could argue, with his best result reaching the quarter-finals of this year's French Open. So what does he need to do in order to take the next step to be able to fight for these major victories?
Yeah, another good question. Born in Hamburg, Germany, currently youngest player in the ATP Top 20, Alexander. Yeah, and defeated Novak in the final of last year's Italian Open, hence winning his first Masters crown. Certainly looked impressive in his opening match yesterday against James Duckworth, winning in 3 straight sets. That was 7-5, 6-2, 6-love. And he was winning on that game over 90% of his first serve points and hitting a very high level of winners. And he'll face American Taylor Fritz for a place in the third round. Certainly a player to watch out for over the tournament.
Yeah, big percentages though. Is another young man who's hoping to go far in the tournament was Austria's Dominic Thiem. However, he retired with a back injury in his first round match with Marcos Baghdatis, and despite being runner-up at the French Open, Thiem just seems to be unable to produce his best tennis on grass. Yeah,
Dominic Thiem, Austria, seeded 7, age 24 and French Open runner-up, retired in the third set, losing at 6-4, 7-5 to love to the Cypriot veteran Marcos Baghdatis. He had to take time out for a back injury. However, the pain became too much early in the third set, and I understand the clay court season grind may have taken its toll. Baghdatis is into the second round for the 9th time in his career, and look forward to that.
Yeah, and just talking about Dominic Thiem, obviously had a fantastic clay court season, but could you just explain the differences between clay and grass?
Absolutely. Grass courts are normally associated with the Wimbledon tournament, as we all know. I mean, there's plenty of grass tournaments, tournaments and courts around Britain, and grass is the fastest surface due to the slippery nature of the surface, especially when it's raining, given a lower bounce and even an unpredictable bounce due to the uneven surface. Grass favours strong serving players and net play. Clay courts, normally a deep red colour, and are typical of the French Open Championships, regarded, I would say, as the slowest surface in tennis, reducing the ball speed, making it easier to return the shots. Favoured mostly by baseline players who like to place a great deal of spin in the ball, such as Rafa's style of play. You can see the mirror spin he actually puts on the ball when he's returning, and he's played a lot from the back of the court. Clay slows down the ball, reduces skid, creates higher bounce, longer rallies. I personally tend to slice a lot more when I'm playing in clay, but some would say that I do that all the time anyway. If there's anybody listening who knows my game.
Well, 6 Grigor Dimitrov, he was expected to kick on this year, especially after he won the ATP World Tour finals in London last year in November, but he lost to Stan Wawrinka. Now, this was always going to be a tough match for both players in the first round, because it could easily have been into the second week, this kind of match, but Dimitrov losing 4 sets, and he seems to be going for a bit of a rough patch.
Yeah, Grigor from Bulgaria seeded 6th in the tournament, lost to Stan in a close match, 1-6, 7-6, 7-6, 6-4 on centre court. Do you know, there's possibly a loss of confidence and focus there. However, Stan did play very well despite his tough comeback from knee operations. And for Stan, the feeling of a win in centre court must be amazing based on his own last year challenges. So I think that there was a combination there of confidence loss and really wanting to win on centre court. So yeah. Yeah,
well, there was a lot of talk, especially in Dimitrov's early part of his career, that he would be, he was nicknamed kind of Baby Federer, but that doesn't seem to have kind of lived up to expectation. But I'm sure he'll be back fitter and stronger in the future. Another seed out early on, Belgium's David Goffin losing to Australia's Matt Ebden in straight sets. He's ranked 9th in the world, but he's not reached a quarter-final of a Grand Slam since the Australian Open in 2017. Is his form in the majors cause for concern?
David Goffin, Belgium, seeded 10 in the tournament, as you say, world number 9. Stunning upset. They are losing to Matt, who's the world number 51 from Australia, in 3 sets, straight sets, 6-3, 6-4, 6-4. He broke Goffin once in each set, though, and I guess there's a combination of concerns down to individual determination, injury and focus. I would say never underestimate the competition who are getting stronger each day and learning from their masters. So you never know. You never know.
And Ian, let's talk about Juan Martín del Potro, because he's had such a hard time over the years with injury, but it's great to see him competitive again.
Absolutely. Number 5 in the tournament, won 3 straight sets yesterday. He will next face Lopez, the Spanish veteran. I actually really enjoy watching Del Potro. He's a nice guy. With his height, I could say his wingspan, and his ability to get to these balls. He just gets to them and just hits through these balls, especially with the forehand, with such power. It's no wonder he does so well in the tournaments, and I think his opposition really have to work out a strategy of getting by this power. I reckon he will actually go quite far in the tournament. Yeah,
especially on grass, because he has a big serve which will help him.
It's his height,
Yeah, his height, yeah.
It's coming down from a great height, that ball.
And his forehand as well, absolutely massive. Must be one of the biggest on tours. One man I want to get your thoughts on is Nick Kyrgios, the Australian. I think it's fair to say he's had a few controversies on and off the court in recent years, but his potential is massive, because on his day, I believe he's capable of beating anyone.
Absolutely. I agree with you totally there. Nick, 23 years of age, seed 15 from Australia. He can be a bit of his own man and temperamental, but then I guess that's his style. And I understand an ace hit a ball person who had to be taken away for treatment. But what that allowed him to do was to show compassion and care, and we saw a really nice side of him there. He's actually got one of the biggest serves in tennis, hitting over 40 aces in his opening win yesterday against Dennis Eastman. If he keeps his focus and cool, I believe he will go far.
And finally, Ian, have you saw any other players from the opening days that you think we should be keeping an eye out for?
Absolutely. You know all the names already. John Isner, seeded number 9, USA, watch out for John. Kevin Anderson from South Africa, number 8, seed, and Milos Raonic from Canada, seed 13, and that's about it.
Yeah, some all big servers as well, which of course will suit the grass courts of Wimbledon. Ian, thanks very much. And on the way next, we'll be having a look at all the Brits in action.
Love music, live sport. Match Point with Adam Todd and Iain Rose on RockSport Radio.
Welcome back to Match Point. I'm delighted to say we are joined by head coach of Whitecraig's Tennis and Sports Club, Giulio Spella, to look at how the Brits are doing at Wimbledon and the impact the tournament has at grassroots level. Giulio, thanks for taking the time to speak to us tonight. And unfortunately for Andy Murray, his tournament was over before it even started after the two-time Wimbledon champion withdrawn from the event last Sunday. He's continuing his recovery from injury. Must have been a tough decision for Andy to make.
Hi Andy. Yes, no doubt it was a tough decision for Andy to make. As you say, he's a two-time champion, arguably the biggest Grand Slam of the year, and clearly in the lead-up he has given himself the best opportunity to get to the tournament, to make his return from injury in playing Queen's at Eastbourne. So those two events were certainly a marker to try and make his long-awaited recovery. However, himself and his team, they know best what is right for Andy. And as he said in his own words, it just came a little bit too soon. Playing the 5-set matches every other day was just a little bit too soon, and no doubt it was a very tough decision. But in the long run, one that he feels will benefit his career going forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And his focus now turns to the US hardcourt season. Do you think he can be competitive there, or will it still take a few more months for him to get back to where he wants and needs to be?
Certainly, I think the good thing for Andy was the signs that he did show at Queen's and at Eastbourne, the few matches he did get under his belt. There was no doubt that he was competitive, so that will be pleasing for him and his team. However, it is a little bit more time to become fully fit, to be where he feels he needs to be competitive at the highest level, and the impact that will have on his body. And certainly the change of surface is never easy, going from grass to hard court. So potentially to get on the hard courts a little bit earlier will allow him more time to fully recover and to have the competitive side in the game there his earlier matches prove. So hopefully, there's no doubt that he is competitive. It's the fitness that hopefully a few more months out will bring.
Hi, Julia. It's Ian. Well, as far as the men are concerned, Kyle Edmund leads British hopes. He started well, winning his opening match on Tuesday in straight sets against Australia's Alex Bolt. How far do you think he can go in the tournament?
Hi Ian, certainly Kyle will be looking at the event to go into the second week, and then from there it's anyone's game really once he gets past the first few matches. Hopefully it's something that he can do. Previously he's only won one match at Wimbledon overall. However, he's now ranked 17 in the world, 21st seed at Wimbledon. He certainly has the credentials to make the second week. His forehand is certainly a weapon that will help him on grass, and he'll be looking to go deep into the second week. And from there, as he proved at the Australian Open, it's anyone's game, and potentially semi-finals or further is certainly not out with a possibility.
Yeah, it's been an impressive year for Kyle Edmund so far. He's now in the world's top 20, as you mentioned, and reached the semi-finals of the Australian Open. What do you think he's capable of achieving in the future, Julio?
Certainly, he'll be looking at trying to go a little bit further. There's no doubt about that. He's proved to himself that he can compete at the top level. He can mix it with the best when it comes to the business end of a tournament. Certainly getting through to the semi-finals of a slam, there's only one way he'll be looking forward to, is to try and crack it into the final and take one of the big tournaments home with him. And to do that, he's just going to continue his progression up the rankings. Can he break in the top 10? Can he be more comfortable in playing the big names week in, week out? And hopefully he may become the second British male to lift a Grand Slam title within a few years.
Well, that would be fantastic, Julio. And as for the other Brits in the men's draw, it's been a tough few days with Cameron Norrie, Liam Brodie and Jay Clark all going out in the first round. As far as Liam Brodie is concerned, it was always going to be a tricky opening match against Milos Raonic.
Andy, of course, Raonic was always going to be a tough match. Finalist 2 years ago, 13th seed, and a game that's well suited to grass with his big serve that he has is certainly a weapon. And for Liam being 173rd in the world, it was always going to be a tough ask. But I think we can take a lot of positives and we'll look to the other British players that are up and coming. Certainly the rise of Cameron Norrie recently will give Liam Brodie some inspiration going forwards from his first round.
Yeah, well, you just mentioned Cameron Norrie there. He lost in 4 sets to Alias Bedene, and he must be disappointed with that, especially after taking the first set. And as you mentioned, he has had a massive rise and had a fantastic Davis Cup debut earlier this year.
Yeah, I think Cameron will be disappointed with his result this week. However, that's to take nothing away from which is just a phenomenal rise up the rankings. It's taken him less than just about a year to crack the top 100, sitting at 75 in the world. So I think, it's going to be a bitter one to take, over the next few days. However, if he looks back over what he has achieved over the last year to 15 months, he can only be ecstatic about his progression, and overall it's just a phenomenal rise for him, and great to see another boost for the British game.
Certainly is. And British teenager Jay Clark, he lost in 5 sets in his Grand Slam debut to Ernest Gulbis. No doubt he'll be disappointed with that, but nevertheless this will give the 19-year-old a lot of encouragement going forward, especially taking Gulbis to 5 sets.
Yeah, I think in his own words, he was disappointed in how the match ended, getting to 4-all in the 5th set. You feel the game is there for the taking, but it's always very tough to get across the winning line, and playing Gulbis, who used to be top 10, he has reached the semi-final of a slam. It is the crucial points, but he competed it exceptionally well, very athletic, very young, and the future looks bright for Jay going forwards.
And as for the ladies, Joanna Konta reached the semis last year. Do you think she can repeat that achievement again?
Yes, she certainly has been quite positive about her chances. She's reached the semi-finals. She's been as high as number 4 in the world. Injuries and recent form haven't helped her too much of late, but that's not to take anything away. She's certainly a world-class performer, and certainly looking to go, like Kyle Edmund, deep into the second week of the tournament. And no doubt once she's there, she has all the experience, she's got a world-class game, and she'll be looking to see what she can do in the latter stages.
There was also success in the first round, Julio, for 19-year-old Katie Swan, who's mentored by Andy Murray. She may have lost in the second round, but she's showing a lot of potential. What's your thoughts on that?
It's just brilliant for her in front of her. Same with Jay Clark, 2 young players in front of the home crowd, playing in front of friends and family, and it's just amazing for her to get a first win in a slam. So she must be over the moon about it. She'll take away a lot from her experiences to take back to the practice courts and to learn, improve. Certainly with the mentoring from Andy Murray, it only bodes well for a promising future.
And moving away from the action of Wimbledon, Julio, to the impact the tournament has, you are head coach at Whitecraig's Lawn Tennis and Sports Club, and when Wimbledon is on, do you see a big increase in people playing?
Yeah, certainly with Wimbledon on, the media spotlight is on the sport, which is great to highlight the game, highlight the opportunities that is there to play, and coupled with the great weather that we're having at the moment, it's just a phenomenal time to get out on court and to play. Naturally, we do see an increase at this time of the year. However, for Scottish tennis, it's just the last few years have just been unprecedented with the success that the Murrays have brought to the game. The spotlight has meant that we now have players joining throughout the year. It's not so much a 2-week spotlight at Wimbledon time. Players are coming on court, they're coming into clubs throughout the year, looking to engage with the game, looking to engage with the club, and it's brilliant. But no doubt, Wimbledon fortnight certainly is still the peak time, and it's great to get people out and playing.
And what's the key to keeping them involved post-Wimbledon, Julio?
I think the key for any player, no matter what age you are, from the youngest kids to the oldest adults, they all come and they all want to play the game. When can I play? When can I play a game is all that we hear. Tennis coaches, we hear the first words out of anyone. And really they want to emulate what they see on the TV. They want to play the game that the pros play. So to be able to create opportunities, whether that is playing socially, whether it's playing in one of the many small teams and leagues or competitions that we have, finding a way to meet new members, giving them opportunities to play, and then the activities that all tennis clubs have, whether it's coaching, whether it's organised events, they should all be geared to help people to go and play the game. So finding friends, finding opportunities to play the game and to enjoy the sport that we have is vital in the first few footsteps.
And finally, Julio, I understand you've installed in the last year or so new all-weather synthetic clay courts at Whitecraig's. Just explain what the purpose of this was and the advantages that you have seen over previous surfaces.
The installation of artificial clay courts has been a fantastic development for the club, and since then a number of clubs are following suit in installing the artificial clay. The reason simply was to try and improve the tennis experience for everyone and to take advantage of the new technology that's out there in the market. And very simply, the artificial clay, believe it or not, we do get some wet weather in the west of Scotland, although we've been enjoying a summer for a change. But the artificial clay helps to keep the tennis ball a lot drier in the wet weather, which makes the game a lot more enjoyable for the players. In addition to that, it is a little bit slower, the bounce is higher, it is easier on the joints, and it's easy to move on. That all adds up to provide a more fun experience with more variety, the ability to play more shots, and it just increases the playability and enjoyment that the players have. And certainly anyone who's been fortunate enough to play on the artificial clay have all commented about how much more enjoyable, and the one word that we hear is how much fun it has. And now there are a number of clubs who are installing the clay courts, and in my opinion, long may that continue. It's great for people to learn on. You get time on the ball, you're able to play a variety of shots, and certainly it's just, as all our users say, it is so much fun, and that can only be a positive thing for the game.
Absolutely. Well, thanks very much for taking the time to speak to us on RockSport Radio, Julio. Much appreciated, and hopefully we can do it again sometime soon. But thanks again.
Not a problem. Thanks, Andy, and thanks, Ian.
Thanks, and bye for now.
Okay, now we're going to take a music break, and on the other side of that, we'll be discussing the ladies' singles. Great track, and welcome back to RockSport Radio. It's Match Point with Adam Todd and Iain Rose, and I'm delighted to say we are now joined by Anna Brogan to discuss the big talking points from the opening days of the ladies' singles. Anna, thanks very much for taking the time to join us on RockSport Radio, and you played at Wimbledon a few years ago in the juniors. Just explain for us how special that experience is and what it's like to play at the All England Club.
Yeah, I played the juniors a few times, and just really is such a special event to be a part of, and was lucky enough to play on court one, which is a memory that I'll take to my grave, I think.
Absolutely, and you also had tremendous success in Scottish tennis as a junior as well. Can you expand on that achievement and what commitment you had to give to get there?
Yeah, I was a junior national champion, and tennis was my whole childhood. I sort of then went on to play in the WTA Tour for a bit, but I've now decided to take a scholarship to an American university, so I'm starting there in August.
Fantastic, sounds brilliant. And I just want to get your thoughts on the ladies' singles at Wimbledon. One big talking point before the tournament got started was whether 7-time champion Serena Williams should be seeded. She's ranked 183 in the world as she continues her return to the sport following the birth of her child. The organisers in the end decided to give her a seeding, which seemed to divide players on the tour. Where do you stand in the matter?
I think it's an absolute no-brainer that Serena should be seeded. She's the greatest of all time, and just because she's had a year out doesn't really change that at all. And I think players that object to that are just a bit envious of her success, to be honest.
And on the subject of Serena Williams, do you think she can go all the way this year and win Wimbledon again?
She's obviously always going to be a huge contender, but it'll just be interesting to see how she holds up physically, having not played many matches after a pregnancy. So, it'll be interesting to watch how she gets on.
Hi Anna, it's Iain. And her sister Venus is making good progress and is through to the third round. She was runner-up last year. Do you think she's got a chance of going one step further and winning the event?
I think Venus is absolutely incredible with how well she's doing at 38 years old. Her form's not been quite as strong coming in as last year, so I don't think that she's a huge favourite this year, but then again, she's won Wimbledon, 7 times, I think, so the Williams sisters, you can never underestimate, that's for sure.
Yeah. Simona Halep seems to be the woman in form, having won the French Open and is currently ranked number 1 in the world. She's reached the quarter-finals of Wimbledon in the last 2 years. She'll be hoping to go further this year. Your thoughts?
Yeah, she's coming in full of confidence after winning her first slam, and she's definitely been the most consistent player in the last couple of years, I would say. And finally getting over that last hurdle of winning the French Open. So I would be surprised to see her going deep this time next week.
And Anna, one woman that was expected to go far was second seed Caroline Wozniacki. She won at Eastbourne last Saturday, but is out of Wimbledon after losing to Russia's Ekaterina Makarova in the second round, which means 5 of the top 8 women's seeds are already out. How much of a shock is Wozniacki's early exit from the tournament?
Yeah, that was a real shock to see that one today. Like you said, she's coming in after winning Eastbourne, and also she won the Australian Open, her first slam. So she's going to be really disappointed with that. Also seeing Kvitova go out in the first round, that was very surprising. But yeah, she can just seems like Kvitova's quite unpredictable and can be quite up and down with her results.
Yeah, and another shock in the opening days was 4th seed Sloane Stephens losing to Donna Bekic. In her last 5 Grand Slam appearances, Sloane Stephens, she's had 3 first-round exits, but in the other 2 was runner-up at the French Open last month and won the US Open title last year. It seems to be a case of win or bust with her.
Yeah, definitely, and she's quite similar to Kvitova in that sense, partly because they both play so aggressively. There's not much margin for error in their games, so sometimes it's Grand Slam winning performances, and other times it's terrible, it seems.
One player I want to get your thoughts on, Anna, is Maria Sharapova. She lost her first round match to fellow Russian Vitalia Diachenko in 3 sets, and it's now been 14 years since she last won Wimbledon, and over 4 years since her last major win, which was the French Open. Do you think her best chances of winning another Grand Slam are over?
Again, it's similar to the Williams sisters, where you can never underestimate Sharapova. She's just a true champion. I'm not a huge fan of Sharapova, to be honest. So, yeah, I would be surprised to see her win another Slam. And it's kind of difficult for her, I think, after being out with the drug ban and stuff. She seems to have struggled to find her form again.
Yeah, and let's talk about the Brits. We mentioned Joanna Konta earlier on in the show, and what have you made of her performance so far? She won her first round over Natalia Viklasenseva, and how far do you think she can go this year? She obviously reached semi-finals last year. Can we expect a repeat performance?
Yeah, she came through a tough first round match in 2 very close sets, which will give her a lot of confidence, I'm sure. She's not coming in this year on the back of great form, but she had a good run to the final in Nottingham, and I think she plays very well on the grass, so hopefully we'll see her in week 2 again this year.
And Naomi Brody faced the defending champion Garbine Muguruza on centre court, losing in straight sets 6-2, 7-5 on Tuesday. How do you assess Muguruza's chances of retaining her title?
Yeah, Muguruza, again, she's also very strong on the grass. She plays very aggressively, and she looked very strong against Naomi Brody, so she's definitely another one to watch.
And both Katie Boulter and Katie Swan won their opening matches, but unfortunately Swan lost her second round match today. Nevertheless, a great effort to win at Wimbledon. Your thoughts?
Oh yeah, definitely. Katie Swan is really progressing well, and there's a really good bunch of British girls coming through now that have just broken the top 200. Katie Boulter, as you mentioned, Harriet Dart is also playing very well. And it's going to be interesting to see how Katie Boulter gets on in her second round match tomorrow. That's definitely a match to look out for.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the other Brits there, you mentioned Harriet Dart, but we also had Katie Dunn and Heather Watson, Gabriella Taylor. They were all put out in the first round. How disappointed will they all be not to progress at their home round?
Yeah, Heather Watson especially. I think she came up against Kirsten Flepkins, which was probably about a 50-50 match, but again, Flepkins is dangerous on the grass, a previous semi-finalist, so I'm sure they'll just learn from it and get on with looking ahead to the hardcourt season.
And finally, Anna, have you got anybody else that we should be looking out for in terms of going far in Wimbledon?
I think one to watch is Madison Keys. She's a big, strong American, huge serve and forehand. Made a run to the French Open semis and was also a finalist in the US Open. So I enjoy watching her play. I think she's one to watch.
Well, thanks very much, Anna, for joining us on the show. It's been a pleasure and much appreciated.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. On the way next, we'll be looking at more at Wimbledon and what's coming up tomorrow.
It's a heartache, nothing but a heartache. Hits you when it's too late, hits you when you're down. It's a fool's game. Love under your arms break, then it lets you down. It's a fool's game.
Into the final 10 minutes of this evening's Match Point show now, and I'd say me and Ian have also been joined by RockSport reporter Hamish Carton. Hamish, fantastic to have you on the show, and I believe you've picked out some matches for us to look forward to tomorrow. Yeah,
it's worth saying that the order of play is not out yet. I think that's down to the fact that play was called off for a bit of rain earlier on. So
well, I'm surprised at that because it's meant to be so warm as well.
I know, and you only have to look out the RockSport window and see what the weather's like here. But so what I've done is possibly predicted what will be on the show courts tomorrow. I've picked out 6 games in the men's draw. First one, Marcos Baghdatis, he's up against Karen Khachanov. Baghdatis obviously beat Team last time out. Really good display from him. That was a shock result. That was only played the 2 sets and Team was forced to retire. But it'd be interesting to see how he backs that up tomorrow, because he's obviously got real history at Wimbledon. He always seems to perform well, but he's up against Khachanov, who's such a big server, great player, real talent for the future. So I think that could be a real good game, and I just wonder what court they're going to put that on. I think there's possibly a chance they'll stick that on maybe court 1, something like that. Obviously the big names, Rafael Nadal, he plays Mikhail Kukushkin. You'd expect a pretty comfortable win for Nadal there, but that'll probably be in one of the main courts. Djokovic, he's up against Horacio Zeballos. Again, Djokovic, you'd fancy him, but we all know what his form's been like lately. So that's just a selection of the games there, Adam. There's loads of other ones that'll come on to in a second, but the big names are certainly playing tomorrow. Yeah, well, let's have a talk with yourself about the big names. I mean, me and Ian had a chat earlier on about the likes of Rafa Nadal, Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic. I mean, Roger Federer, he just looks so elegant the way he plays on that grass. Is he your favourite for this tournament too? I think he's everyone's favourite at the moment. I watched him earlier against Lacko, and he does look effortless. He looks like he's only been playing in grass for 2 or 3 years. He still looks like he did 10 years ago, the way he's playing. He hit a smash today for the service line, and I think it went about 100 mile an hour, and it looked like he'd barely hit it, just the way he's playing. And he made really easy work of Lacko, who I think is a really talented player. So he was good. He has to be the favourite, but you've got to look at the way Nadal's played. If he can transfer any of that form on clay onto grass, which he's obviously really struggled with over the last 10 years, and he's got to be a contender. Djokovic has got to be a contender. Who else would you look at? Like Kaina Nishikori, could he be a contender later on in the tournament? Edmund, if he keeps it up? Yeah, Nishikori seems to have gone a bit quiet in recent tournaments, doesn't it? Because there's big talk. So do you think this could be a breakthrough perhaps for him? He plays Bernard Tomic tomorrow, and we all know what happens with Bernard Tomic. He either turns up or he doesn't. So that'll be really interesting. He's gone through a week of qualifying to even get into Wimbledon. Yeah, and he was ill in the final day of qualifying. Yeah, he lost it, but he got in, I think, as a lucky loser. So it's all to play for there. That's a cracking game. Kyle Edmund, of course, he's up against Bradley Clan tomorrow. He beat the Japanese boy Sugita in the first round. And another one I quite like, it's kind of a Spanish-Argentinian thing, Feliciano Lopez against Juan Martín Del Potro. That's got to be game of the day, or match of the day tomorrow. That's a cracker. Well, we talked about Del Potro earlier on, and Ian, that's going to be a great game, isn't it? That'll be a great game, because I do love enjoying watching Juan. And again, as we said, with his height and his ability to move around the court and his wingspan, there should be some great shots at tennis. Passing shots as well. He's great at passing shots, you know. And do you think Del Potro obviously won the US Open a few years ago, but do you think he is capable of winning another Grand Slam, Hamish, especially after all the injuries he's had, especially with his backhand? Seems a lot weaker, and if the top players who do target that backhand, seems as if he's got no answer to that. Yeah, I mean, we all know about his forehand, the fact that he can just batter that forehand for about 100 mile an hour, but the backhand has been a weakness. You do wonder about the problems he's had. He did alright in the clay, actually. Got to, I think, the second week at Roland Garros. Grass, I think, is a bit more difficult for him, because the ball goes low and he has to adjust slower and all that. But I don't know, I mean, that's an interesting game tomorrow. Lopez had a great grass court season last year, did well at Queen's, hasn't really done it so far this year, but he's in the second round of Wimbledon, and he's hoping to go further. So that's my match of the day tomorrow to watch, certainly. There you go. And you know, guys, we're all talking about tennis here, and we've all played tennis. I understand you've played tennis as well? Yeah, for a couple of years. Tell us a bit about this tennis you've played, because Adam was telling me that you're really keen at tennis, and you know a bit about it. Tell us the tennis you've played. I'm from Prestwick, and they've obviously got fantastic great courts down there. Fantastic courts. So when I was I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, they built this wonderful complex or leisure centre at Prestwick. And you know, that's the indoor one, is it? Yeah. Parallel with the main road that runs through it. Yeah. I played there in a tournament in between Christmas and New Year, and it's for the Ayrshire Hospice. You know, it's a charity matches, and it's a fantastic tournament. There's a lot of our players go down from Glasgow and play in that. In fact, all over central Scotland, and even further go and play in that tournament. So it's a great one, and the facility, as you say, is really second to none. It's really great, and
especially with indoor courts in Scotland with that weather as well. That's a great facility to have. And Ian, you're still involved with tennis. You've been president of White Craigs Tennis Club.
I'm still involved with tennis. Yeah, I've been team captain of several teams for years. White Craigs, one of the leading sports clubs, private sports clubs in Scotland. I think I started many years ago, captain of the second team, then the third team, then the fourth team. It's going the wrong way. And now I'm not captaining. I'm just playing in the teams when I can. But it's good fun, and I enjoy playing on the clay, as Julio mentioned earlier on.
Well, we should all have a kind of RockSport tournament, shouldn't we? Between
we need another one to make up a foursome.
Doubles,
yeah.
I think just before we finish it, we're remiss not to touch on the women tomorrow, Adam. We've got 4 games I've picked out. Ash Barty against Eugenie Bouchard. That'll be a great game. Bouchard coming back, obviously, after her troubles. She looked good in the first round. Yana Konta carrying the British hopes. Possibly she's the only Brit left. No, there's one more, isn't there? We've got Katie Bolter as well. But Yana Konta, she plays Dominika Chibolkova. That'll be a cracker tomorrow. 2 players who've been in the top 20 there. Katie Bolter, I just mentioned, she plays Naomi Osaka, another big name. Tough match for her. I think she'll probably struggle to go through that. And then the last one I picked out, 2 ladies that did really well at the French Open. Yulia Putintseva and Daria Kasatkina as well, who both made it to the latter stages in France. Whether they can do it in the grass as well, I don't know, but that's 4 to pick out tomorrow.
Certainly going to be a fantastic day tomorrow at Wimbledon. And just before we go down, Hamish, you mentioned a few of the ladies' matches tomorrow, but I want a prediction. Who's going to win Wimbledon 2018 in the ladies?
I would have said Kvitova until yesterday. I would have probably now go with Serena Williams.
Yeah. And what about in the men's, Hamish?
I'll go for Rafa Nadal.
Okay, and Ian, what about you?
In the men's, I'm going to go with the men's here. I'm going to say Roger.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a final.
That's final. Yeah, I think a final with Roger and Rafa would be good fun.
It was 10 years ago, wasn't it? The famous one.
Absolutely, that was just incredible, and I think we would all love for that to happen again. And we'll be back next Wednesday to see if we're any closer to getting that dream final. Thanks very much for joining us on Match Point. My thanks to Ian and to our guests as well. Hamish for joining us at the end. Anna Brogan and also Giulio Spella as well. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Love music, live sport. Match Point with Adam Todd and Iain Rose on RockSport Radio.